At this point, the election is beyond what's called the margin of litigation. In other words, even if all of President Trump's lawsuits are successful, they still won't make up enough votes to push him over the top. So the litigation, I think, is mostly for show. It's not actually going to change who the next president is. Biden has secured more votes by a substantial enough margin that the courts do not provide the president with a path to reelection.
And he's suing in several states. Do you see all of these being resolved within days?
All of these lawsuits will probably resolve the next days and perhaps the next few weeks. One way or another, the Electoral College meets in the middle of December. And when they meet, we need to know who the president is. So whatever cases are outstanding should be decided hopefully the next few days and maybe the next few weeks.
Is there any standing for this to see the Supreme Court?
There's one pending case before the Supreme Court that may make a small difference. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court had ruled that absentee ballots that arrive late can be counted towards a total. As things stand now, the state has separated the ballots received by Election Day and the ballots received after Election Day. The Supreme Court may rule that those late ballots are not valid, but it won't make a difference. I think Biden has been able to go over the top based on ballots cast by Election Day. So the short answer is, even if the Supreme Court intervenes, it will not change the vote tally in Pennsylvania to make a difference.
And so let's talk about the legality regarding the Electoral College, to the extent that you can talk about it. What is the law regarding how electors are chosen and whether or not they can change their votes? Are there laws regarding that federally, or is it state by state?
Each state appoints the electors, and generally under state law, the electors do not have discretion. The electors are going to vote for whoever won the majority in their state. In the past, there have been efforts by some electors to sort of change their vote, but these are very few, and it's very rare that this happens. And just this past year, the Supreme Court ruled that the states can direct an elector how to vote.
And so the legal challenges, the call for electors to change their votes, likely will not change the outcome of this election as we see it today.
No. Biden has a substantial lead in the Electoral College. It's, in my mind, virtually impossible that so many electors will change their votes to cast a vote for Trump. I think it's simply not feasible.
Even if they were allowed to?
Even if they were allowed to. Generally, the people who are elected as electors are party loyalists. These are people who were selected by the Republican Party or by the Democratic Party to cast votes. It's very unlikely that people selected by the Biden campaign would go off and vote for Trump. I don't see that happening.
So what do you make of the noise surrounding this? This is very different from 2000, where there was a contest on both sides about the counting in Florida.
In Florida 2000, the margin was razor thin. We're talking about a few hundred votes here or there would make a difference. Here we're talking about tens of thousands of votes or hundreds of thousands of votes in 4 or 5 different states. It's simply impossible for the litigation to close that gap, to flip the outcome in 4 or 5 states, right? This is not like 2000. The legal avenues, I think, are not giving President Trump a chance of success. His days in office are finite. There's a limit, and he will not be president after January 20th, unless something insane happens. I mean, just maybe there's some crazy, massive conspiracy that we're all unaware of, but more likely than not, he will not be president come January 20th.
Anything else that you think it's important for our viewers to know going forward as they pay attention to each rapidly shifting news cycle and they hear about court cases and they hear about the law?
I think it's important that all the legal avenues be considered. If there's any allegations of misconduct, they should be addressed. But I think what's important to know is even if there's some rogue actors, people who misbehaved, the outcome of the election, the total number of electoral votes will not be changed. And I think we may learn bits here, bits there, that things were not done properly. But at this point, the ball game is more or less over. I think we're ready, and we'll have a President Biden come January.